I'm Chelsea Grayson. Welcome to another episode of What's Your Water? My guest today is Sinqua Walls. He's currently starring in the leading role as Don Cornelius in BET's American Soul. He is also currently starring opposite the Queen, Angela Bassett, in Otherhood on Netflix. He was in 1527 to Paris. 1517 to Paris, I always mess that up, which was directed by Clint Eastwood. Yeah. He was famously Shawn on Power, so he worked with 50 Cent. We're going to get into that a little bit.
That's right.
He was in Friday Night Lights, a whole bunch of other stuff. He's the quintessential working yeoman's actor.
Hey, I take that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be working enough to be here.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I kind of want to get into that first so everyone can hear it, because you don't even yet have a manager, you have an agent. So you really don't have sort of like that traditional team surrounding you.
Yeah.
How did you get into acting? Why did you get into acting? What was your big break? Kind of lead me down that path.
So I got into acting because number one, it was always my biggest passion. Growing up as a kid, I played sports. Everyone in my neighborhood played sports. You grow up playing at the YMCA, AAU ball, and everything like that. I had a passion always for drama since I was 11 years old. I watched movies as a kid. I would recite the lines, and I always just had a joy for it. But your friends are doing sports. So I was doing sports and I was doing all that. Yeah. Eventually, I studied theater in high school, and also when I got to college, I had it more as an emphasis, and I studied it even more. And that's where I really doubled down on my love for it. I did everything that everyone should and should not do to get a career started. My first job, how I got my SAG card, was being Taft-Hartley saying that I owned a car that I didn't have because they needed to have a real Honda driver driving a Honda Accord. And my girlfriend at the time owned a Honda Accord, and I was like, oh, you know what, this is my car. So I showed up to the audition and said,
oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I did everything I could to kind of break in. I was able to book some jobs in college. They gave me enough funds to move to LA and really pursue it completely. And then I just hit the trails. I did workshops, I did acting classes. I did everything I could. Like, my story, thankfully, is one of those ones that has been steadily progressing. So I tell people, if you do the work, everything else will follow. I had a manager for a lot of years prior to my career really taking shape. It was actually when I decided to go managerless, and I had such a great relationship with my agent, who I love so dearly. I won't say her name because she literally said, don't say her name in interviews, but I will eventually. We just have a good rapport, and she's someone who gets me and someone supportive. So I always say to any artist, whether it's an actor, whether it's a musician, whether it truly is someone who paints or photographer or whatever, you need to have your advocates, you need to have your allies. And I'm so grateful that the team that I have now, they're my advocates, they're my allies, they're people that believe in what I'm about.
Yeah.
They allow me to be me away from work, and then challenge me to be my best self when I'm doing the work. Otherhood being one of my greatest opportunities thus far, to work opposite Angela Bassett, Patricia Arquette, Felicity Huffman, Cindy Chupak, Kathy Showman. Everybody's like won an award, an Emmy, a Golden Globe, or an Oscar. And I remember my agent, before I left to go film the movie, saying, you got to make sure you were focused on everything, because you got to show up to play with these ladies. And then when I got there, she called me, I think the day before or the day of the first day of shooting, to say, hey. I was like, hey, what's going on? I'm just making sure you're prepared. Remember, these are heavy hitters. Don't come, I hope you're not messing around. And I was like, no, I'm ready. I got you. So she's like, all right, cool. That's my pep talk. I'll talk to you later.
She's the mother hen.
Yeah. She looks out, man. She looks out, and I'm really grateful for her.
But you didn't just get from a Honda commercial to just being directed by Clint Eastwood.
No.
So, no. So, I mean, what?
If only it was that easy.
Right? And because it's not, I mean, you really are, I mean, I don't want to overuse the phrase, but working actors in Hollywood, there is a teeny little percentage of you guys. You are paying your mortgage with your acting.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes.
So, I mean, what was the kind of first big thing that you got into that really got you noticed, that sort of opened the floodgates for you?
Okay, open the floodgates. I'll say this, and that's why I say always do your best and always give your best, because you never know who's watching. That's something my mom always passed down to me when I was growing up. What opened the floodgates for me was a job I didn't get. It was an audition where I auditioned. They ended up going a different direction with the character, but the decision makers, the producers, and the executives in the room liked me enough. They liked what I did. They liked how I came in. They liked how I was prepared. They received my work really well, even though I wasn't necessarily what they wanted for the role. So from there, they started making calls for me. You know, calling other people, letting people know that my work was out there, letting people know that I existed, letting people know the kind of professional I was, the kind of person I was. And then from there, you know, my agent was able to use that to call other people to say, if you don't know him, call this person, and they'll, you know, say whatever. And then if you're curious about if you should hire him or not, or if you're on the fence, call this person, and they'll, you know, co-sign him as well. So it was actually a job I didn't get.
Yeah.
And before that point, it was years of, I mean, I laugh at how extensive my resume is because I don't realize how long it is.
It's so long. Your Wikipedia, by the way,
oh my
cool
God.
that you have a Wikipedia
I know. That's when you know you made it.
For real.
When you got the wiki and it's real, you know you made it.
But it's like, I was going through it, I was like, oh, he was in that? Oh, he was there.
I forget. Like someone even said to me, they're like, I worked with you a couple years ago. And I was like,
oh, shit.
What did we work on? And I was like, forgive me. Like I was like, what did we work on? And they said, Pair of Kings. And I was like, oh my gosh, Pair of Kings. On the Disney Channel. They're like, yeah. I was like, I forgot I even did that. I was like, yeah, man, that was a while ago.
Wow, that's cool. Like slightly douchey, but cool.
No, but it wasn't. And we both laughed at it. They're like, you trying to forget it? I was like, no, please, I'll say it. I was like, I genuinely was like, what year was that? Because I just, you know, would always walk into every audition giving my best. And as we get into the interview more, we'll talk about the balance of life. Because I think for me, auditioning was my life. And still a part of it is life is auditioning, but if I had an audition, my day was done. Monday, you got an audition Tuesday, Monday shot, Tuesday shot. Wednesday, if I don't get another audition, then I'll actually live my life again. So I would go into these spaces of, I gotta go, I gotta focus. It's you know, life or death, sink or swim. Put it all on leave it all on the court. And you know, I'd book some and I'd not book some. And I remember when I first moved to LA, I booked my first 3 jobs, and then I didn't book my next 6 jobs, and I thought my agent was gonna drop me. I was like, I suck now. They're gonna drop me because and they were like, we didn't expect you to book your first 3.
Right, I was gonna say, who even books
We
their
thought
first...
you were gonna book 1 out of like your first 50, maybe.
There's like people out there who probably are gonna hate listening to this because you just moved to LA and you just booked your first 3 gigs. Okay, no big deal.
Like I said, people received it well. I actually booked a job because they needed a basketball player, and one of the things in the audition was to jump up and grab a rebound. And I jumped up and grabbed the rebound so hard and came down, you know, your back, throw your elbows. I put a hole in the wall. And they're like, okay, that's enough.
That's commitment to the role.
And I was like, well, either they're not gonna hire me or they know I know how to actually grab a rebound.
But they hired you for that.
They ended up hiring me for the job.
Because you play basketball,
I do play basketball now for fun, and I did play it, you know, when I had those delusions of going to the NBA years ago.
I mean, you're 6'2", so that would have been
tall
for real life, but maybe not.
I would have needed to be a lot faster.
Yeah.
And jump a lot higher. You know, you look at Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose and those guys. Nah.
They're giants.
They're giants, and their athleticism is uncanny.
It's crazy.
They're mutants. Like they were born to do it.
And that's really hard work running up and down a basketball court. Like, I mean.
Oh yeah, my knees will tell you that right now.
This is the extent of my sports ability, so we'll have to stop.
Well, you were an athlete too, though.
Well, I danced.
That's athletic.
Yeah, I mean, I work out every day, but that's not. I don't know what that is, but. What's your, I just really want to quickly go into it just for people out there that are watching that are interested. What's your, you say, so it's like a 3-day block of time when you're going into audition. I mean, I know what I would probably do if I were you, but what's your thing? So like Monday, are you going over lines and working out hard, or like what are you doing on Monday? And
so that's Tuesday? The balance. Like that's what I used to do, and I found that to actually not be the most mentally advantageous because I would psych myself out. I'd be so on a pendulum of like highs and lows, and you never have life. You know, you have your friends and your family and the people that support you, they're so important to this whole process too. I hope people don't lose the fact that as you strive for your goals, that your community is so important because they share in those victories with you. Yeah. You know, they share in the losses and the wins. Like you know, my grandmother gets more excited for anything that I do than I do sometimes because she's like, I get to see the progressions. Yeah. And so to not take time to go to dinner because I'm like, oh, I got to study this audition. Yeah. So I learned to really compartmentalize my time and be efficient in that time. Yeah. Where it's like, you know, if I got an audition and it is tomorrow, I'll say from 6 to 8, phones off, you know, whatever I need, music, whatever, that's my kind of meditative time to just lock in and focus. Whatever I do within 6 to 8, I'm gonna hammer it home, and then I'll give myself from maybe like 8 to 10, dinner with somebody, hang out, you know, whatever, and then from 10 to maybe 12, study a little bit more. Just be efficient, but allow myself to have breaks, because I realized the healthy balance of that. Yeah. If I get an audition that's on a Wednesday, and it's Monday, Tuesday, I'm breathing easy.
Really?
I'm going to the gym. My cheat code, I highlight all my lines. I'll get on the elliptical for an hour.
Yeah.
And I'll just rehearse my lines while also getting cardio. So two birds,
great.
one stone.
Yeah.
And then I'll record my voice, and then I'll get in the car and drive if I have to go to the beach or wherever I'm going. And I'll just keep going over my lines.
Yeah.
So I'm just two birds, one stone. By the time I'm done with my day, I can relax.
Yeah.
I can watch, Game of Thrones or whatever. Have people over for like taco nights.
Okay.
It's easy.
I think I'm the one person on the face of the planet who's never seen Game of Thrones.
I've actually only seen one season.
An episode. Oh, okay. That makes me feel better.
Yeah. I just got into
catching
it.
up.
I just got into it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Because you don't want to be like one of the cool kids that's not cool because everyone else is talking about it and you don't know.
I don't have that FOMO, but I'm kind of older, so like I just don't have it. But I'm still stuck on Breaking Bad. I just rewatch and rewatch and rewatch that.
In my opinion, greatest show.
Greatest show ever, right?
Greatest show.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now that we have that settled, so let's go back a little bit because we've talked a little bit about you moving back to Los Angeles and kind of how important your community is and everything. But you were born in Louisiana. At some point, you moved to Los Angeles. Talk to me about how old you were when you moved. Where did you come to in Los Angeles? Where did you come up?
Crenshaw District. Crenshaw District.
Crenshaw.
Let's shout out. You know what I mean? Crenshaw 60th is where I grew up, and a lot of great people grew up in the same neighborhood, on the same block with me, and ended up becoming very successful. A lot of us. I'm really proud of everybody that I grew up with, and the whole community. I think that it's one of those communities, high and low, that anybody that comes from that neighborhood has a lot of pride. Obviously, like most notably to me right now, Nipsey Hussle is one of those people that you see that really put the entire environment on his back and really spoke about what he experienced and had a lot of pride in articulating what it meant to be from that environment. And obviously, like, you get those opportunities as a young basketball player to change those environments quickly. Sports is a bridge. It brought me into very affluent neighborhoods. As well, it gave me the opportunity to travel at a young age. But my heart and my pride always goes back to that environment, to that neighborhood, and because I have family that still lives over there. My dad still lives in the same house that I grew up in, and that's me.
So, but you actually grew up with Nipsey, right?
I did. Yeah, we were neighbors.
I saw a cool picture of you guys when you were kids together.
We lived about. We lived next door to each other, like one house was in the middle of us.
Yeah.
But me, him, and all of our friends all lived on the same block. So it was about 6 of us that ran up and down the street causing havoc, trying to sell anything we could to make cutting grass or whatever it was.
Yeah.
To make some money.
But it's so cool how you guys were both obviously into your art and your craft.
Yeah.
And you both, and I'm sure other kids from that same block too, it feels like sort of that area really was just kind of bred people who went out into the world and
the community,
followed their passions.
That's the thing that I think that, when they say it takes a village, not just to raise one kid, but to raise many kids. My hat goes off to all the parents that lived on 60th Street. That raised all of us because we had a community and a family where everyone was supportive of all of us. I mean, we spent the night over all of each other's houses. And collectively from all the houses down, all my friends are doing something that I am so proud of them for. And every time I would actually run into Nipsey, we would talk, whether it was in LA, whether it was in New York or other cities, and we say how we, obviously seeing how we were progressing in a notable sense, but to see how all of our other friends were progressing and how proud of them we were because everybody's doing something. Everyone has college degrees. Everyone has started their own businesses. Everyone is, becoming successful in many different industries. And I think that's a testament to the community that we were surrounded by.
Yeah.
Is everyone just being so supportive of wanting us to succeed.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of that. And I always say that in any interview is that obviously for he and I, the success that comes with visibility, but for everyone else, that the success that comes with actually being successful human beings.
Yeah.
I'm so much more proud of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just surviving.
Yeah.
Is a success anyways, coming from the neighborhood, but then thriving in that way.
Yes.
The things he talked about in terms of land ownership and not just spending it all on the chain.
And the funny thing about it was between him and his brother, they talked about that when we were kids.
Really?
That they were the ones that I would say, they educated me on the mindset of thinking outside the box. This is conversation, and I don't know whether it came from, their mom, it came from their dad, or just their internal family. They were talking about that when we were playing Sega Genesis, 12, 13. Those are the conversations they were having then about land ownership, about diversifying your portfolio, about having stocks and assets. And you're thinking like, Yeah, bro, I'm just trying to get a Benz. I'm just trying to get a Benz, man. And it's like, nah, bro, you got to do this, this, and this. So I remember those conversations. And when I was, as he progressed into a successful rapper and I'd hear his lyrics, for me, I was like, that's so crazy. The things that you talk about then become your voice that allows you to progress as you go forward. Because he was always talking about that. And Sam was always talking about that.
Day one. You listened to everything before Victory Lap.
Yes.
All the old stuff. And that was like the running theme, even before he really was as successful as he ultimately got.
Yes.
And who knows what,
Yes.
the supernova status he could have even achieved beyond,
And I think he's still gonna get there, which I think is really cool. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that as people become more aware of his music and his message, no matter the time that we had with him on Earth coming to an end, it does not mean that his image and his legacy will ever dissipate. And I think there's enough people that he had as allies in the industry that believed in his message and believed in him as a man and an artist, that I think they'll continue that message going forward.
Yeah, for sure. It's been really nice to see some of the people that have come out with albums afterwards. Like Meek, Rick Ross just
Rick
came out.
Ross, Meek, YG, Jay-Z, everybody has spoken, has albums speaking about him and won't let him be forgotten.
And having him on the track too, which is so cool that he recorded. He was obviously so prolific right up until the end, just continuing to record stuff. Which is so interesting.
And he was already on the verge of that. Like that's what was so interesting. It was, he had one of the last times we got together was this time last year, and he was telling me about what was happening in his career, what was about to take off, and the deal with Puma and all these things, and I was like, what? Like we were in New York and Soho, and I was like,
you're about to bust out.
This is crazy, bro. I was like, oh man, you about to pop off. I was like, that's so great, because it just makes me happy. That's the thing is, I know there's so many people at different stages where they went to high school with him, or middle school with him, or elementary school with him, or lived on the block with him like I did, who are proud of him, and proud of his message, his family, and have their hearts go out. So to see that love for me was just special.
Yeah.
And then to just be able to it makes you proud. It's almost like it's your victory. Like at the end of the day, like I said, my grandmother, her support for me in the same way is like, that's my victory. Like I can see my boy up there doing this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, and nowhere in your heart do you go like, oh, what am I not doing? You go, oh, wow.
It's good for him.
Oh my gosh, you get so excited.
Because there was something even, when he was still alive, it was almost like, not that he was predicting things, but he walked with and spoke with a particular gravitas that a lot of other people didn't. You could tell he was doing things. There was no spite. There was kind of none of that. He was really just doing it out of the generosity of his heart. And so he was walking and moving like that, almost expecting that he was setting up a legacy for himself early.
I think, just being aware of being tapped into humanity. And I think that, when you listen to what he said, when you listen to like his mom speak, and you listen to his grandmother speak, you realize that was the voice that internally was going on in their family. And I think what a powerful message to pass on, to be so spiritually tapped in.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people do that.
No. Kudos to his family for raising him like that, for sure.
The strength that they gave the whole family. Mm-hmm. To me, specifically his mom, who was like a mom to me at times, and punished me at times for being hard-headed.
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah.
She
wasn't no joke, man.
Yeah.
Her strength to me is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember times Angelique knows
But it was good for him. It was good for you. It was great for him, obviously.
Yeah.
It's so exhausting and so difficult, and it's so hard to make all the right choices when you're a parent. And to see it have happened so beautifully and perfectly and spectacularly in that particular family.
Yes.
And for them we went to the memorial service at the Staples Center, for her to speak so selflessly about that, or for other people to talk about what that house was like, exactly like you are. It was just, it's really moving to be able to see inside that process and take cues from it.
I'm happy for them, man. I know obviously as a family, like they're going through the progression that come with losing someone you love so much, like anybody does. And the way that they carried that moment and the way they've carried so many moments, and their ability to band together and support each other, I think is even further is a testament to what they have as strength, because that's not easy.
Yeah, you posted something around the time that he was killed, and part of what you said resonated so much with me, which was just like, I can't believe it. It's like the news is reporting something that didn't actually happen. It just is, even now so shocking to
It still
think
doesn't
that
feel
life
real.
got cut
Yeah.
short like
Yeah.
that when he was doing so much and he was just at the precipice of.
And what always makes me, what made me so happy in that moment, as he looks down on us and he knows and he gets to see it, the hard work that he put in. And it's so rare because we all work in this industry. We all work in the entertainment industry. And we know the internal communication and you know, the gossip or whatever. Nobody had anything bad to say about him.
Yeah.
To have one person, the legacy that was being built, everything that was happening, but to not have one person be able to say something bad about you tells you that you are walking a whole different path.
It's remarkable.
Because I can't even say that there's people that wouldn't even have something bad to say about me.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, he was nothing.
Yeah, definitely can't say that about
Nothing.
myself.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody was like, man, when I had an opportunity to kick it with this dude, this is what he dropped on me.
Yeah.
Male and female. So I think, man.
That's a lesson to take away, I think, right? In terms
Yeah.
of just how to live your life, live it always like you're creating that legacy.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
I mean, you're going to get shade one way or the other. He
Yes.
was probably a rarity in that case, but really try to wrap things up with people and try to make it okay. So you're just kind of living the cleanest life you can.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, life has its challenges and you're gonna have good days and bad days, but
Yeah.
be authentic and know that I feel like if you have a heart for humans,
Yeah.
you'll be all right.
I can't wait to see the kind of art and life and love that his kids are going to bring into this
I know,
world.
I know,
You know, I
I
mean, I
know.
think that's going to be
It's gonna be crazy.
beautiful.
It's gonna be crazy.
You know, hopefully they're kind of being raised in this. I'm assuming they are because it's all the same
Oh,
family.
yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
You know, that'll be really nice to see as things move forward. I love seeing how the kids are coming up from all of the people that we're worshiping as icons right now.
Yeah,
It's really cool to see, you know, how they're creating their own lives.
yeah.
Okay, well, so back to you. So kind of back to you're coming up in that community where
Yes.
you're coming up with all of these people,
Yes.
but there's a lot of pressure to succeed because,
Yes.
you know, people want to see you make it up and out. So, because I get the sense about you that we were talking about this a little bit off camera, you love your craft,
Mm-hmm.
you love this art. You're not just doing this because you wanted to be on a red carpet or, you know, be in the movies. I mean, you're doing this because you love the craft of acting.
Yes.
So how do you work on that still? Do you take acting lessons or how are you
I do.
continuing to?
To sharpen the tool?
Yeah.
By number one, being humble enough to know that you don't know everything. You'll never know everything. So I always just make that piece of knowing like I'll never be, I can only get better, I'll never be at my best.
Yeah.
I have an acting coach now, so I don't really take classes as much.
Right.
But now I have an acting coach and we get together once a week. And we only tap into my weaknesses. You know, like I'm always going like, where am I weak? Where am I weak? Where am I weak? Where can I get better? Where can
Yeah. Like, give me an example of a weakness.
An example of a weakness.
I mean, if you don't want to say, that's okay.
No, I have no weaknesses. I've worked on all of them now. No.
What's something you guys
No,
have
you know
worked
what I know?
on?
Like when I'm very introspective in a scene, I have a tendency to go lower in register where it almost sounds like I'm mumbling. And I noticed it obviously with Don Cornelius because he's someone who's always very in a much deeper register and always speaks like
Yeah.
this, and he's very attentive when he's specific. So sometimes like words bleed together. So an exercise that we do, my coach and I, would be to always make sure that I'm expanding the vocal range. So even in a lower register, I'm speaking with clarity. That's a weakness.
Yeah.
So I take vocal lessons now.
Okay.
So I can make my voice more rich and potent, because I think you should be able to speak, you know, sit right here and speak to the back of the room or whatever the case may be. So that's an example. I'm always sharpening that too. I want my voice to be as powerful as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, so kind of along those lines, so you really have had the privilege of working with a bunch of greats, right?
Yes.
Clint Eastwood, Angela Bassett, 50 Cent.
Yes.
Kind of talk to me about what are their different styles on set? I mean, because I get the feeling that even though Angela Bassett, I don't think she had any part in directing or whatever that movie, but she's still, I'm sure she still sort of directs things in her own scenes.
Sure.
What are their different styles? What did you get from them? You know, what were your takeaways?
Ooh.
You know, like, because I'm sure 50 Cent is the same way, even though he's not necessarily directing something. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he's in control of
Yeah.
the scenes that
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
there for, you know?
I think that I have to break those up independently. I'll
Yeah.
use 50 as an example. What I love about 50 is that 50 is wise enough to know that if you hire talented people and put them in a position, they're going to show their talent. So he's
Okay.
to me, an ultimate leader, ultimate businessman, because he says, okay, as the head of any ship, if I have a great gaffer, we got to find the best gaffer. Then I don't have to oversee them doing their job because they're talented at their job and they're going to do it the best. All I have to do is go, did you do your job?
Okay.
So he's really good at stuff like that.
He doesn't micromanage.
He doesn't micromanage because he doesn't
Interesting.
have to,
Okay.
because he won't hire you if he has
You
to.
suck. Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah.
going to make sure that he hires the best person for the
Yeah.
job, and then that person is going to be equally as passionate at what they do that they're going to do it. I know that he ended up directing some episodes of Power after my demise.
After he killed
Post Shawn.
Yeah.
But as a scene partner, I can honestly say he was always giving. We always worked together. Like, we talk about father and son stuff. And he came to play. Like, he came as a thespian, ready to play, and humble at the same time. If there was like questions about anything, he was like, I don't know this, whatever. We'd always break it down. And I think, because of the persona of who he is, and because of the energy he walks out with, sometimes people are like, oh, 50's gonna be. But 50 is respectful of the craft. He's respectful of the process. And he's like, this is the medium where we're gonna all win together. He is 50 Cent.
Yeah.
So he doesn't walk in, he doesn't need to give you 50 Cent every day.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm 50. You know what I mean? Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't have to say, I'm 50 Cent, I'm 50 Cent, I'm 50.
Yeah.
You know it.
10 miles away, you know that shit.
So it's just like, all right, so what are we talking about today?
Yeah.
And it allows you to just kind of ground things and work together. And he's been a mentor to me in this business too.
Wow,
He's
okay.
really looked out for me and really kind of always given me great moments of advice and supports my career too. I've been blessed to have a lot of champions. I think that's like the biggest thing is I've had a lot of people who are like, you got something special, and if ever I can do anything to help you, I will. So I'm like, cool.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
You
him
never
being
say
one
no
of
to
them.
help.
No,
ever.
and I mean, you never say no to help, and you never overuse it either.
Definitely.
Because even like to the point of like, I remember 50 was like, the agency he was with at a time, he was like, you want to be repped by them? I was like, nah, see, I think, I want to make sure it's the right fit for me. He was like, man, it's me calling them. They're gonna rep you. I was like, I know, but I don't want them to rep me just because of you.
Right.
I want them to rep me because they believe me. He was like, oh, all right, let me know when you want me to call them. I was just like, all right.
But he had to have respected that answer,
Oh,
right?
he loved it, but he was like, I respect it, but he was also like, let me know, because when he cares about you and he supports you, he wants to help you.
Yeah.
And that's
Your
the thing.
agent, who shall not be named, probably
Shall
really
not be
appreciated
named.
that conversation. Your anonymous agent.
My anonymous agent who's always around, yet no one. The thing about my agent is that she's younger than people think, but older than they think as well. So when they see her, they don't know that she's my agent, and she likes it that way. Like she came to set one time, and she was hanging out in the trailer waiting for me to come into hair and makeup. She's just sitting there, and everyone was like, oh, hey, and she's like, oh, I'm here waiting for Sinqua. They're like, oh, okay, cool.
They're like, okay, that's his woman.
And they walk in, and I walk in, I'm like, hey, and they're like, oh, they're like, your friend's over there. And I look, I was like, oh, my agent. They're like,
What?
what? I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, and then she introduced herself. She loves it.
Yeah.
So she's always around, and no one even realizes it.
I feel like that's the female plight, and we won't get off topic here, but that happens to a lot of women. It used to happen to me a lot too when I was much younger in my career. I was a lawyer, and I'd walk in, and they just, I didn't actually ever get asked to bring coffee to anybody, but I know that there were urges to do that with me because people did not realize I was the partner on the deal.
They didn't realize it. Yeah.
So, but I kind of liked it too because then people underestimate you, and
It's a smart
then
position
you
to
bring
be
it,
in.
and they're sort of like,
And they're like,
I
whoa.
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's what 50 brought to the table for you and continues to. So what about Clint?
Oh, Clint, man.
Because that's
Clint Clint is the same way, and I say this because in the scene that we had on the day that we did it, and one of the ADs said to Clint, he was like, man, about me, he was like, man, he's really good. Talking about Sinqua, me. I don't mean to say my name in third person, but he was talking about me.
Yeah.
He goes, man, he's really good. And Clint was sitting behind the monitor. I was sitting next to him. He goes, I know. That's why I hired him. He goes back to the monitor.
that's all you need to hear from
I was like, all right, but the thing is, I read for another movie of his. Again, like I want to always tell any artist, but also actors, sometimes it's the role you don't get that'll lead to the role you do get.
Yeah.
I read for a movie for him a couple years ago, and he really liked me, but he ended up going with someone else. So with 1517, I never actually read for Clint again. I went in, I had one read with the casting directors, and then I got a call saying I got the role. And I was like, sure, I don't need to do anything else.
Like, are you calling the right person?
No, Clint loves you. You're in. I was like, okay.
That's wild.
So then I get there, we're going through rehearsals, and I was like, gonna go over and introduce myself. I was like, there's no way he really remembers me. I was like, hey, Sinqua, sit down.
Wow.
I was like, And then after we get done shooting, he's like, where are we going to eat after this? And I was like, wherever you want to go, legend. I'm good.
Well, right?
Like, wherever you want to go.
He's been around forever.
Yeah.
He's been in everything. He's done every kind of role.
Yeah,
you know?
but I think the thing about being, and I'm sure for you as well, is like being decisive in the talent that you hire. And that's the one thing I can say that I learned from him and I learned from 50. You have to be very specific and not and be courteous in the talent that you hire. They hire the best people to do their job, and they say, you are here because you are good at what you do. Yeah. I'm going to empower you to do it, and I'm going to trust you to do it. So you never hear those guys. I've never heard 50 get angry at anybody. I know it's happened. I haven't seen it, because I've never seen the people that he's been in the space of power with me need to.
Yeah.
I never saw Clint raise his voice, because he had been with his DP for years, with his gaffers for years, with electrical for years, with lighting for years. Yeah. This is his crew, this is his team, but they all got there because they knew how to function. So now they're just moving around each other. He doesn't even have to raise his voice.
That's true pro-life.
That's where you want to be. It's like it makes life easier. It makes life more fun. But again, like 50 and like Clint, when they walk in with that history of being them, there's no question that this is Clint Eastwood.
Right.
He's walking in. I literally said, I don't even think he'd remember this. He had on like some Skechers. And I was like, man, you just real swagged out with those Skechers today, man. He's like, they're comfortable. And I was just like, that they are. That they are, sir.
He wasn't even doing it to be a sneakerhead. He was like, they were comfortable, I'm good.
Comfortable.
I don't really care what they look like.
Not at all.
As long as they fit.
It's just like, yep.
So, similarly, you walk on set, there's Angela Bassett.
Right.
Do you get intimidated? What does she bring to the table for you? How is that to act opposite a scene from Angela Bassett? This is Stella. This is Tina Turner.
This is just legend and legacy, like all the names we just mentioned. And it's,
I don't know, man. I'd walk in and be like, I can't remember.
You bring a lot of deodorant that's antiperspirant, so you're spraying it on. It doesn't look like you're sweating, but at the same time you are.
You didn't have a shirt on for most of that movie.
Yeah,
so
and the scenes that she wasn't in. And remember when she came in, I put my shirt on.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yes, I do remember
that. Was on purpose because I knew I was going to sweat.
That's an Angela.
That was like, Angela's coming. I think in this scene I got to put my shirt on because it doesn't make sense.
My character would totally
My character would totally put his shirt on when his mom comes in. She has this ability to bring people in to make you comfortable. I think she's very aware of how she's perceived when she walks in the room, and she carries herself with a lot of presence and pride, which she deserves, not only just for the acting that she's done, but the woman that she is, internally, externally. She's a great woman. And knowing that sometimes you can feel, she's very in tune with energy. You can feel when people are nervous around you. You can feel when people are like, jittery because they're meeting Angela Bassett. Yeah. And she has this ability to just bring you in and settle you and just make you feel comfortable. You walk away going like, oh my gosh. And I've seen her do it with so many different people that I'm like, that is a gift. Like people have literally looked at me like, oh my God, even fans when we're walking up from the van or whatever, oh my gosh, Angela, and she's like, hey, how are you? Aww. And they're literally just like, I'm so good.
It's so nice of her to do.
She's so gracious with that.
Yeah.
And then that was the call that my agent gave me and said, your first scene is with Angela. You better not be, are you prepared? You better come to play. And I did, and I think I won her over with that.
Okay.
I think Angela was like, all right, he's not coming over here not on his lines. Yeah. I knew all my lines.
Yeah.
I knew my lines in the whole movie before I got there. Because I was like, this is your one shot. Eminem, when he says like, if you got one shot.
One shot, yeah.
I'm like, this is it, kid. It's either here or the crack house. Which one is it gonna be? Yeah. So you better know all these lines.
That's dramatic, but that's okay. You're an actor, you're supposed to
I was like, this is it. If you don't make this work, you know what I mean? You'll never work again. So it's like, yes. They're like, we're ready for you. Absolutely. Like, Angela's 20 minutes away. That's fine. I'll wait right here. It's okay.
Yeah, there's the consummate professional.
Always. Like, we need you. Yeah. Yep, great. Okay.
I'm here. Yeah.
No, don't need me? All right, I'll be over here next to Crafty.
But it's nerve-wracking because it wasn't, that's the hard part about that movie. Those were comedic scenes.
Very comedic scenes.
It was like a cross between a drama.
A drama, dramedy.
Dramedy.
Yeah.
It was a dramedy. And so that's even harder.
Yeah.
To get there and be funny with her and to have that timing and that chemistry.
Yes. I mean,
like
where
did
where
she impart words of wisdom to you, or she just kind of got into it?
She just got into, what I'll say is what we were able to come peaceful. Like I said, her ability to settle people. We're at Netflix. She and I had never met.
Yeah.
We're walking in for our table read. Angela walks up. Cindy, our director, says, I want you to meet I want you. And I just said, Mom. And she goes, son. Gives me a hug.
Oh my gosh.
And at that point, I was like, Love.
Yeah.
And then we connected off of that. And then it was just play. I know that being truthful and knowing what the scene's called for. So in the moments when you see Matt Walker with Angela's character, Carol, his job is to be led, and she drives the ship. So for me, it was just being present enough to know that I'm following her. So again, when she gets up to go wash the dishes, I'm like, I gotta make sure she doesn't watch. Whatever a son would do in that moment, let me make sure I'm the truest part of that moment while not overstepping the fact that she's leading the scene.
Right.
So as she leads, I follow. If she sits down, I gotta sit down.
Yeah.
If she gets mad, I gotta go, and that adds to the funny because it's like your mom's looking at you with this 17-year-old girl. What are you gonna do? And then she's staring daggers at you, you're like, come on. It's not what, just letting her drive the ship and then you just follow.
That was a wild scene. I can't even believe Hollywood let that scene go in there like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Because you guys were actually like kissing when you guys walked in and everything.
Well, thankfully, the actress that plays the 17-year-old is not 17.
For the record.
Thankfully. Still very young, because I would never give her age away. Elizabeth Cappuccino, shout out to her. She's a great, phenomenal, trained actress, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just came to play. And I was so thankful for her because any woman that has ever worked with me on set knows that as much as people walk in like, oh, you're gonna be this guy who's gonna be super suave and all these things. Yeah. I'm so sensitive to women on set because I want them to feel safe and comfortable. So that I'll be, hey, how are you, Sinqua? You good? You need anything? I'll be over here. And if you ever need to change, I'll be over here. I won't even look. You guys, well, okay. Close set, I'm out. So I'm always like that. And the first thing she said to me, she goes, I just want you to know, in the scene, I'm comfortable with everything. And I go, okay. What does that mean, actually? And she goes, everything, I'm comfortable with it. If there's something I'm not comfortable with, I'll tell you. And I was like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know what to, but essentially, don't feel afraid to let this moment be true.
Right.
She gave me the space to do it. I'm so grateful for it because we were able to play and have a good relationship in that funny of what it was.
It was great, yeah. It's like the best scene in the movie.
That was all on
hilarious.
her. People have received it well, but honestly, it's because that actress allowed me to have the space to play.
Yeah.
So I'm really more so thankful for her for giving me the space to shine in that moment.
Yeah.
It was really because of her. Truthfully.
And Netflix too. I mean, it was really I don't think people realize how provocative that scene was when you really break it down.
Yeah.
But also cool because every dynamic was in there, right? Like when Carol says, well, is this your girlfriend? And you're like, yeah. And then you can see the girls, Elizabeth Cappuccino, you said her name. You can see her face kind of light up because she's like, oh yeah, no, I'm the girlfriend.
I'm the girlfriend,
right? And she wants to come and talk to the mother.
She's so, yeah.
She's gonna have lunch with or dinner with the mother now. And
she's like, I made it in. What I love,
every dynamic was in that scene.
And what I love, which was such a subtle choice that she did, and she's a very talented actress and is gonna go very, very far. She walked in the loft and looked around and was like, oh. You know what I mean?
Like that guy.
Exactly. It was like, oh. Mm-hmm. That's such a subtle choice that you don't pick up on.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day has happened to me before. Someone's walked in and gone, oh.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch that.
Yeah.
You pronounce your name Sinqua. I always say Sinqua, so I'm sure I pronounce it
wrong. Sinqua is interchangeable.
Where's that name from?
Sinqua is the French pronunciation of Singebi. And Singebi was the king that led the slaves to the Supreme Court to fight for freedom. You know the Amistad?
Wow, yeah.
That's my name.
Oh, God. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read that anywhere.
Yeah.
How did your parents find the connection to that name?
So my dad wanted to name me Singebi.
Yeah.
Because he was like, we got to stay true to the tribe. And then my mom, being Creole from Louisiana, said, nope, we're going to go with the French pronunciation. And that's what happened.
It's good. It's like a little compromise between the rents.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That was actually a good compromise on their part.
Yeah, that's a great name.
I'm proud of them for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
and then my other kind of side question is, you don't look anything like Don Cornelius.
Right.
What is your makeup like on that show? Because I've had other people say to me, like, oh, you're interviewing Sinqua.
Yeah.
And, but they were just like, wow, I didn't realize that was the same guy that was in this, that was in that.
Right.
Like, I think, like, people don't realize it's the same person.
Which is, to me as an actor, is a good thing. Because like you kind of said, like, I love the work, I love the craft. I want things to continue to build as they do. But I think what actors sometimes worry about is getting trapped in a role so much that they can never be seen as anything else. So because I literally was able to do the character of Matt Walker while simultaneously doing Don Cornelius, instantly people can say, oh, it's two different people. Yeah. He has range.
Right, that's cool.
He's range. So it made it fun to not get trapped. So I can literally do Don for months and almost put on this suit of armor. And then when it's time to be done, I can hang it back up and go, now I'm gonna go back to living Sinqua's life again, which I love. Our hair and makeup department are amazing. Hair, makeup, wardrobe, they made Don Cornelius.
Yeah.
I mean, all I had to do was say the lines at that point.
You have the right brooding, kind of like you said, low talking, sort of,
Yeah.
Yeah, you got all, there you go.
Love, peace, and soul. What's that?
There. And there it is.
That's what I just said. I was like, let me go back and watch like old tapes of Denzel. What did Denzel do? That's what I'm gonna do. I was like, he pointed with his right hand. I'm gonna point with my left one. I switch it up and do that.
And it's all sort of fun and games now, but we all know it's heading to a really dark place at the end.
Exactly.
But you have a prosthetic nose.
Yes.
You've got like all the crazy.
Not a nose, but they do put more stuff under my
to make
eyes.
it like pop out.
We played with the idea of a prosthetic nose, and then we went away from it.
Okay.
Because it was too big with the glasses. So that was actually more of a technical thing.
Oh, so they're actually really amazing because your face is totally transformed.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is, congrats, because you guys got picked up. You're in season 2 is airing right now.
Yes, season one is airing, and season 2 will start airing next year. 2020. Yeah.
So are you guys still shooting it right now? Or?
We'll start season 2 pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to be totally different from season 1. You and I have kind of talked about some of the pivots or whatever, so I really can't wait to see how some of the characters either developed or just aren't in there anymore, because I'm sure they're going to tweak a couple of things.
People die.
Yeah.
And it intensifies. If you, a lot of the cliffhangers, what I'll say is a lot of the cliffhangers from the end of
so many
season 1 get answered for good or bad.
Okay, I can't wait for that. Because I like to wait for things. That's why I wasn't sure if it was airing yet or not, because I wait and I kind of watch it all in just one weekend and I just sit and just drink wine and just
binge
hang it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay, good.
Based on what I've been told the producers have cooking, I think the audience will really love season 2. It definitely builds off of what we've already been doing.
Yeah.
And adds to and amplifies what we haven't been doing. So I think the audience will come away happy with season 2. From what I know.
Okay.
At the end of the day, like, they still tell me things last minute too.
You probably find out a lot of last minute things. Did you know Shawn was going to get killed before you showed up that day?
I had on Power? That day, no. No. Shawn was one of those characters. So what I love about Courtney is that everybody in the series that was implemental to the growth of Power knows their demise. They know that it's coming.
Okay.
You don't know when.
Pretty much everybody dies on that.
But you just don't know when. So whatever your totality of your arc is, you know that eventually you will have a conclusion. You just don't know when. So at the time when Shawn was time for him to go, my biggest argument was like, it should be a cliffhanger. They're like, but no, it sets up. I was like, no, it should happen when the audience doesn't expect it in the middle of season 3. It should happen, Courtney's like, you're arguing the fact that like you still want him to die. I was like, no, he should die, but it should be here.
You just wanted to milk it for a few more
episodes. I wanted to milk it for a few more episodes. And also I just like, I'm a fan of good content, good TV. We talked about Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to see anything coming. Obviously, like, I know the suspense that everyone's like, Game of Thrones, you don't know who's gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like at a point it becomes predictable. Sorry, Game of Thrones fans. I don't say this.
Yeah, you're gonna have everybody against you.
It
now.
becomes
like,
predictable that someone's gonna. I almost feel like if you're too much in one episode, you're dying in the next one.
Yeah.
you know? But
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, you didn't know.
Oh no. I mean, down to even little details like the lily of the valley poisoning the boy instead of the ricin. Just like the whole thing where you're just like, oh my God, at the end of that.
And supervillain Gus Fring walking out with half his face.
Face Off.
And he's still like.
But they told you the name of the episode was Face Off. If you would, you know what I'm saying? They give you the little Easter eggs.
I didn't even think about that. I just thought he was a mastermind in the fact that he was a straight up businessman with such a great, persona, but was a ruthless cat.
He hid in plain sight.
Hid in plain sight. I like to hide in plain sight.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing, back to you, away from Breaking Bad. Although I hear they're doing a Breaking Bad movie, so.
Let me know.
Honestly, if you get in on that, please invite me to set one day.
Let me call my agent.
Yeah, you're the agent.
The
unnamed agent.
And I'll tell her.
But you have played a lot of supporting roles, but Don Cornelius, I think, is like your first true hardcore leading role. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I assume there's a lot more to come after that. Do you eventually see yourself, though, also kind of getting behind the camera? I mean,
Absolutely.
What's coming up for you next artistically?
I think, I like you kind of mentioned Clint Eastwood. I think for me, I look at the artists that inspire me and the actors that inspire me, and Clint Eastwood being one of them, Bradley Cooper being another. Denzel even directs and produces. Sandra Bullock also directs and produces.
Amazing.
So that's the pedigree that I like. George Clooney as well.
Yeah. That
I would want to follow is that having the opportunity to do films, working with a collection of artists who are directing their own films, like Scorsese, like Tarantino. But then also being able to develop my own and go in that direction as well and have my own projects that I'm seeing come to fruition.
Yeah.
Having diversity and balance, I think it's the best way to have a career and to still be able to commune with other artists is, when you're really in it and you're having fun, it's that thing of like money aside, everyone just enjoys working with each other.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to have those moments to play, but then have those moments to create as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stay in this industry that you love, because this is clearly a passion for you.
It
You've
is.
monetized your passion.
It is, and I feel so blessed to say it that I have been able to do that, because my goal is to make it a career, and to be a staple, and not a moment, and not a fad. So that's my goal.
So, anything you want to tell people you're working on right now? Anything you want to promote? What should we be watching?
What should you be watching? Otherhood on Netflix right now, starring me, Sinqua Walls, as Matt Walker, opposite Angela Bassett, as Carol Walker, Patricia Arquette, Felicity Huffman, Jake Hoffman, Jake Lacey, directed by Cindy Chupak, produced by Kathy Showman, Jason Berman, and Mandalay Pictures, and distributed on Netflix and in theaters. I'm just being just a straight plug of all the talking points that I've read for the last 3 months.
That was crazy.
Otherhood is out now. Please check that out. Please watch it. Show us some love. Show us some support. And then season 2 of American Soul will start airing in 2020, top of the year. Don Cornelius comes back, and he's more ruthless than he was before.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
Yeah, he's a savage.
I can't wait. I'm so happy for you and all of your success.
Thank you.
I mean, it sounds weird to say I'm proud of you, but I'm older than you, so I'm proud of you.
Yes.
Just watching it from the outside in, it's so great. You make the best choices. Your agent really helps you out and helps you make the best choices too. And whoever this manager is you're going to get, hopefully is going to be a good part of the team.
Going to be a member of the team.
Yeah, because you've really got something special going for yourself.
Thank you.
You've really created
I want to tell my agent, you're welcome.
Yeah.
She's welcome for seeing me.
Exactly.
She's going to call me and be like, I cannot believe you said that right now.
The whole time, too.
She always says, she goes, you're the client that I call. And she'll always be like, it was good. It was cool. She's like, I can't puff your head up. Then I'll never be able to call you and tell you to do anything. She's like, it's cool. It's okay.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, cool.
Yeah, you're beyond that, I think. You've been in this industry for a really long time.
I've been in long enough, so that's why I always tell people, it's the job sometimes you don't get.
Yeah.
That leads to the job that you do want.
Yeah. But isn't it good to be at this point in your career where you're seasoned enough not to get dazzled or sizzled by that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Where you're just sort of even keel, you're now working regularly.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna, sort of get sidetracked by, what people might be saying or all
It's
that
a blessing.
Stuff. It's cool that you're
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. I think, I had a moment where I was driving and I even was talking to my agent. I said, how did we get here? I was like, what did we do to get here?
Hard work and many years of auditions.
Yeah. I mean, people, tell me all the time. Like I said, I'll forget what's on my resume.
Yeah.
Or I'll forget certain things when someone says, like they said, Pair of Kings. I'm like, oh, wow. or something that a lot of people love. I'll be in the airport, hey man, aren't you that guy? And I'm thinking it's the most recent thing. I always think it's the most recent thing.
Yeah. And they're like, no, it was Shark Week.
And they
or
go,
what was
Shark
that?
Night 3D. And they
Shark,
go,
yeah.
Blue Mountain State. And I go, what? Damn, yeah, wow. Yes, Blue Mountain State.
We didn't even get to that shark movie, by the way. That's like a whole other conversation.
That was my first studio film. The thing about it is I made some really great friends on that project.
I'm sure. It seems like it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Friends that I still have to this day. And if you want to talk about focus and dedication, and like again, I said, not having balance, that whole movie, I ate healthy the whole time, worked out every day, twice a day. I would get up in the morning, work out. We'd shoot all day. I go home, I'd work out again. I eat healthy all day. I'm ripped out of my mind. I had one shirtless scene the whole movie.
Damn, they cut everything else out?
I only had one.
Oh.
They didn't cut
I was
it
gonna
out.
say, they didn't like your shirtless
But
look?
literally, it was a scene when we first get to the house and I'm bringing out a cooler with my friends.
Yeah.
The only shirtless scene of the whole movie. Mind you, I'm over here every morning working. Gotta stay healthy.
Well, hopefully other people in your life benefited from that.
Yeah.
We won't get into that, but hopefully that's all good.
That is true.
That's not the show. That's not the purpose of the show. Thank you again so much for coming.
Thank you.
I really you are a really, really fun guest.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's not always like this. It's really cool.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and I mean, I've liked you like from the moment that we met. So I really can't wait to see everything else you're going to do in life. And hey guys, and make sure and tune in for the next episode of What's Your Water? Can I redo the intro scene really quickly? Sure. I just want to redo that because well, it's 1517, right?
1517.
Why do I always do 1527? That must be a measurement that I want or something. It's like the Bonita Applebaum of movie titles or something.
1527, 15.
1537.
1537.
36, or whatever they say in Shark.
36, 24, 36.
36, 24.
36, 24, 36.
36. We did that on our first date. We were trying to
36,
figure that
24,
out.
38.
Yeah.
Oh.
38. 38's much better. I like goals 38. I'm probably like 20.
He said, what? 38 goals.
It's like some Fashion Nova shit right there. No. All right.